morning, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Yay!
It's a real treat that you're here, and thank you, and welcome to this media conference. First, let me acknowledge that we're gathered on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen peoples of the Esquimalt and Sauk First Nations. My name is Winsome Lonesome. I'm the personal secretary to Premier Misty Bark. Premier Bark is hoping to become the Premier-elect, but that's no certain thing. In fact, she thinks of herself as Premier-elect. But there's a concern with many that needs to change. Anyways, enough of my introductory comments. It's my pleasure to introduce Premier Misty Bark. But before I do that, let me say that it's a pleasure to be here at UBCM and to have had the opportunity yesterday to talk with delegates and learn about some of the communities and some of your communities and the role you play in local government. The agenda for this media conference is that Premier Bark will speak next. She has a surprise for you. After her speech and her surprise, it's about money. I'll open the floor to the questions from media and anyone here who has a question they'd like to ask. So thank you, Premier Bark.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Okay. I'm extremely pleased to stand before you today to make a very important announcement. No, it's not about pipe dreams and gas. It's about something real. But before I say too much, let me take a moment to congratulate the municipal leaders and the delegates to the UBCM who are in Victoria this week to learn from one another, to debate, and to resolve questions before them. Let me congratulate you for the leadership that you are showing for the people of BC. I wish to follow your leadership, the UBCM leadership, which yesterday called for the immediate cessation of work on Site C. In fact, we are prepared to go one step further. We are canceling the project. We've been inundated with opinions, with scientific data, strong arguments, and we've been before the courts. And we now recognize we will get a better deal for all of British Columbia and for future generations if we explore alternatives to the Site C hydroelectric dam project. If completed, this dam would flood 170 kilometers of the Peace River and its tributaries, including many, many acres of rich farmland. It's now exceedingly clear to me that the damage that the Site C project would cause is completely unnecessary. And the costs of bringing the project to completion are simply too high. After all, if Alberta can create 5,000 megawatts of renewable energy for $10.5 billion, it doesn't make sense for BC to spend the same amount of money and produce only a fifth of that power from the Site C dam. I'm sure you agree with me. Yeah. And now on the economics. Actually, confidentially, we don't have any customers to buy the electricity. This project is too destructive. It was going to cost way too much money without any hope of return. My vision is to create better, green, long-term jobs for working people and future generations. And confidentially, there was only ever supposed to be 25 permanent jobs after the dam was built. And we need hydro rates to come down, not to skyrocket like we planned. I and my people are now in agreement with Mark Ellison, the former BC Hydro CEO, who says we A, don't need to build the dam, we don't need this electricity, and two, that we would face an increasing and devastating increase in electricity bills if the Site C dam is built. It would be on the backs of us as ratepayers. Terrible. With our decision today, we are going to avoid spending $8.8 billion of your tax dollars. Yay! And actually, Actually, again, confidentially, with this government's track record, it was looking more like 12 to 14 billion dollars. Plus, we don't need and won't need to pay that 800 million in operating losses that BC Hydro has already anticipated. Did you know that our plan was to debt finance 100% of the entire bill and then sell the power generated to the US market or to whoever might buy it at a price way lower than it will cost us to produce? Yeah, okay, that's why even if we built the damn thing, we'd be better off financially if we turned it off. Let me be clear, there is never a point of no return.
Yes.
When we saw Shell shut down $7 billion investment in Arctic drilling and write down $2 billion due to low demand and prices in the energy industry, we realized that it only made good business sense for the province and for BC Hydro to follow this corporate example of good fiscal management. And confidentially, to be completely honest, with an election coming, we are pretty vulnerable on this Site C thing. And we're making this announcement today because we will not have opposition parties and commentators accuse us of big-time fiscal mismanagement. So therefore, paying contract stoppage fees and penalties is a small price to pay under the circumstances. Shutting down Site C immediately is not only the fiscally responsible thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And to move things along in a responsible manner, today I am also calling on the federal Prime Minister to rescind immediately the recently issued federal fisheries permits that were required for this project to continue. I'll be in touch with the Prime Minister tomorrow. Issuing those permits was a mistake, and mistakes need to be corrected. And there's another much more important mistake that we don't want to repeat. Not so long ago, a BC Hydro spokesperson said that BC Hydro deeply regrets the impacts of the WAC Bennett on First Nations. I agree with BC Hydro that we must be sure not to repeat the mistakes of the past. We stand today now to affirm the traditional territorial rights and title of First Nations in the Peace River and the Treaty 8 area. That is only possible by canceling this unnecessary project. So now to the funnest and most exciting part of my announcement today. Well, I don't know if it's the most exciting. Canceling the project was pretty exciting. But with the savings from canceling the Site C project, I am redirecting our priorities. I am going to present to a citizen of the municipalities of Greater Victoria, Citizen Lisa, a check for $1 billion to invest towards a new future powered by green and clean technologies and providing hundreds of secure and well-paying jobs. Lisa, it's my pleasure to make this gift to your municipalities today, and I look forward to the visionary ways in which you will use this money. Thank you. And let me assure you that there's more money where that came from. Thank you very much.
Wow, isn't this amazing that little citizens like us can really make a difference? Wow, we may look small, but we sure aren't. $1 billion for Victoria, the city of Victoria, what we can do with that money. Wow. Thank you for not wasting our money and your support, and for preserving the Peace River Valley farmland where we can get our watermelons now. And thank you for deciding to honor First Nations treaty and title rights. We're not just all talk, we're action here. Thank you for protecting BC Hydro customers from runaway bills. And you know, $1 billion could buy 10 blue bridges, and almost one entire sewage treatment plant, or even better, 700 royal visits for William and Kate and their grandchildren. We could see them grow up. Those visits are really expensive, you know. And on a serious note, if I had $1 billion, we could really do something. We could reduce and meet the energy needs on smart solutions. Like, you know, we all know these things, retrofitting homes and schools and hospitals and creating jobs right here for companies who can do that. And we can stay home and we can have cookies and we can have fun, you know, and solar panels everywhere, you know, wind power, and we could come up with great ideas and be really world leaders. They would look at Victoria and no longer think of the newlywed and the nearly dead. You know, we would be the newlyweds who would actually be, you know, the new technology, the technology community that's growing here and that's bringing in all that money in tourism. People would come from everywhere to see what we could do. Boy, we could really do a lot. And then they'd also go to our beautiful green urban forests that we'd be growing, and our fabulous green belt that people come here. Wow, we could plan for the future instead of just like letting it waste away. Cleaner, greener energy, reducing our energy use, making more sensible choices for the next generation. That old technology, it's out. And the new technology and our new thinking and our new ways of being, it's never, you know, Martin Luther King said, the time is always right to do what's right. And we're doing that. Bring on the elections! We're small, but we're mighty. That's who puts them in there.